Thank you very much. I would like to have some water or tea. Some of you replace this for me?
Yes, water.
Appreciate.
I'll make sure you get tea.
Okay. I appreciate Sandy's kind invitation. I have done many things, but I have not taken the credit for interviewing President Clinton. I was one of the 40 people from the world, the only one from China, to provide strategic advisory service for Kofi Annan in 2002. And I am Shanghai Conference ambassador, promoting my city, along many other credits. But now I have the honor to meet you and to present my view on China's global partnership. I don't have a prepared PowerPoint presentation, but I'm going to speak for 30 minutes and followed by our discussion. Global partnership. We focus on economic partnership. Of course, we can discuss security partnership, political partnership, etc. But now security, or now economic. China has all kinds of partnership, tens of them. President Clinton came to Shanghai and he spoke about China-US strategic partnership for the 21st century. China was thrilled, but a year after that, NATO's bombing of Chinese embassy in Belgrade made that deleted. So no more partnership. Then President W. Bush spoke about cooperative, comprehensive, and also he wants to have some honest partnership, which is the two countries can speak honestly to each other, and when China was wrong, U.S. would talk to China. President Obama seemed to be more proactive. He wants to have a constructive partnership. So China-US partnership, China-Japan partnership. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, my president had difficulty in having a good face to meet with him a week ago. When he first served as Japanese Prime Minister, 2006, he proposed China-Japan strategically, mutually beneficial partnership. He still wants to advance this purpose. Of course, we call China-Pakistan. This is all-weather strategic partnership. China-Pak relationship is higher than mountain, deeper than ocean, sweeter than sugar, than honey, and stronger than iron and steel. We call Pak steel, Pak iron, which is our number one friend, not North Korea. But North Korea has the only military airline partnership with China. Okay, all kinds. When in 2011, the U.S. bombed Gaddafi's armed force, 30,000 of Chinese fled from Libya. We never know, for such a tiny country, there are tens of thousands of Chinese living there, doing business. And a few years ago, there was a million Chinese living in Africa. A million, now even more. Why they go there? To make a living. China was too poor. Go to a rich country to make money. Or to go to a poor country to make money. When you're smart, you can always make money wherever you go. There are Chinese tens of millions of Chinese living outside of China to make a living. Many of them successful. Many Chinese descendants in Indonesia, in Thailand, in Malaysia, in Singapore, very successful. Singapore, all their prime minister are Chinese descendants. And they know how to do business with China. Thailand, Thaksin, Inlak, all Chinese descendants, the fourth generation. And now new Chinese are landing in America. All the Chinese a century ago from Qing Dynasty helping America to build railway for the San Francisco gold rush. And they make a living on 3 knives, scissor to make clothes, and cutting hair, and then to use the knife, we say 铲刀, the stuff to make a dish to open Chinese restaurant. New generation do not do this. They open IT company. They make big bucks. So first, many Chinese abroad. Second, they trade with China. They become foreign citizen. They bring China image to other country, and they travel. They want to have dual citizenship, but we refuse. But I think China more trade with non-Chinese descendants, with Caucasian, with Aboriginal. Last year, we export 2.1 billion US dollar. 2.1. China was the #1 exporter in terms of material, not trade. America #2. China was #2 importer, next only to America. China imported 1.9 billion US dollar. So overall trade surplus was only 200 billion. And among which we export 360 billion US dollar amount of Chinese goods to America. And we import 160 billion US dollar equivalent of American goods into China. So total two-way trade amounting to 520 billion US dollar. Chinese custom data. US custom data 586 billion US dollar. I don't know why there's such a vast difference, but it's big. What happens? China announced that for the next 5 years, we are going to import 10 trillion US dollar equivalent of goods. Every year you do 2 trillion. Last year we did 1.9, so it's doable. President Obama has had his campaign doubling the US export in 4 years. So it would be nice if China would buy more stuff from America. So Obama would hope that China would cooperate. But whether China would cooperate or not depends upon how China views its interest. Why we develop this business partnership or strategic business partnership? For national interest. China was a poor country, very poor country. China's GDP in 1979, when Deng Xiaoping opened the reform, was merely 120 US dollar. 35 years ago. Poor. Then we need to lift up our economy we need to manufacture. But we don't have technology. We build something, nobody want to buy because it's low quality. So we need to let some people to invest in China. Then we can become more peaceful. Otherwise, we send armed force to South Korea, to South Vietnam. We won in Vietnam, we make a tie with America in Korea. So we were viewed by American as not peaceful. Our motto was, to be poor is glorious. Because you are proletarian, that's great. To be capitalist, that's bad. Rich, but degenerate, aggressive, bullying. China helps others. So China was very poor. China helped North Korea to unify the peninsula. We failed. But we helped North Vietnam to unify, and we won. We sent 300,000 Chinese armed force wearing their uniform. We won. But we did not say we sent. Actually, we sent. We gave 20 billion Chinese yuan for that war. We built Tanzania, Zambia railway for free. It's a gift. So every country supports China to dispel Taiwan from United Nations. We win their heart. China is poor, but China is a real friend. A big country, but a poor country. Not a big country always help a small poor country. China as a big poor country help a small poor country. We win their heart. In 1971, we returned to the UN. 1972, Nixon came to China. U.S. want to build a strategic partnership with China, not a military partnership, but a strategic partnership. To use us to attract as much as Soviet Union armed force as possible. So on the NATO front, U.S. and the NATO front will be less threatened by Soviet Union. We helped. Then America make Japan more friendly to China and ask Taiwan not to make trouble for the mainland. So start to warm up our relationship. Then Mao Zedong died. Deng Xiaoping took over power, understanding our per capita GDP was only $120 US. Communist Party was going to lose power. Nobody liked the poverty. You cannot be poor for a long time. Then we reformed, but not a political reform, to change one-party system to multiple party. That the US still feels gloomy. Why China would not change? But we changed fundamentally our economic system. We employed capitalism, market economy. Then when they face, we say, this has nothing to do with capitalism. Therefore, we are still a socialist country. We fundamentally revamped our system. From central planning, everything when you were born to the time you are dead, government is responsible. But in a poor management, poor resourced way. Now people are largely responsible for themselves, but they have more chance, more opportunity. Government still supplies some basic social safety network. That's current China. By the time 2000, our per capita GDP became $800 US. Much thanks to our cooperation with America, with rich country, with EU, with Japan, etc. And much thanks to your country's strategic decision to partner with China. You have choice not to accept China because they have not relinquished their one-party system. But whether to partner with China depends upon Americans' overall interest, which is not merely to make China to change a political system, but also to tap China's advantage to empower America. Our advantage is big country, so lots of resource, and populous, lots of human resource. Poor. We used to consider America is a bad country because it's so rich, so we don't need American money, but we still need money, so we borrow Russian money. Russia is gone. It is no longer our model. Then we turn to America and Japan. We need money. We don't have money. We cannot print too much money, or else printing too much Chinese yuan would create inflation. Printing American money, it's a crime. So Deng Xiaoping went to the US in January 1979 to ask for money, at the cost of losing face. Oriental people care face, but the US was still selling weapons to Taiwan. That's a big slapping against our face. But he went to America. No other Chinese would have the gut, courage. They would think it's politically wrong. But he did. He was another saint, a god. No one can challenge his authority. He did. He said, let's have low key, develop our economy first, and eventually let's play a role. No one knows what a role China wants to play. So he succeeded. He called President Jimmy Carter. Would you mind to allow us to send some Chinese students? How many? 5,000. Okay, 100,000. The year 1979, we sent 52 with government sponsoring. Now they are minister. So this first group, 1% out of what Deng Xiaoping has asked, 5,000, totally paid by Chinese government. They went to US, spent time in university, returning to be official. So they are first group of American hand of Chinese government after liberation. Now, this time, IIE, the New York City-based Institute of International Education, indicate 270,000 Chinese are studying in the US at one time, including the daughter of President Xi Jinping, the son of the arrested former Chinese leader Bo Xilai, the son of former Chinese President Jiang Zemin, his son is Jiang Mianhen, got a letter of recommendation from my mentor, Madame Xie Shide. She was Fudan University president with a PhD in physics, as I have, from MIT. She wrote a letter for the son of mayor of Shanghai, before the mayor became Chinese president. So many Chinese went to US because we want to improve our individual quality, and many return like me want to improve the quality of the country. This is where China is weak. We care education, but we did not offer quality education for a long time. Deng Xiaoping went to Paris, went to France to receive some education in 1920. Zhou Enlai, our premier, went to Japan to receive education. Mr. Chiang Kai-shek, the head of Kuomintang and the former leader of Taiwan, went to Japan to be educated. So we know Western countries have better science, better knowledge, better management. So when China degenerates, we have the internal gloomy, and we want to go outside to see why China is weak. So I think our global partnership, number one is to get something to lift China by source. When it becomes smarter, we start to use market economy. We abandoned market economy in 1914. And we need people to do it, not just Deng Xiaoping. He wants to do it. You need to have trained people to do it. Banker who can finance. So the Communist Party become pro-development. To be rich is glorious. Pro-efficiency. Pro-capital. That's a fundamental change. Our internal drive, because we are poor. We used to be very rich. Now we are poor. How to make China rich again? We have to learn. So this is the first thing America offered partnership. America allowed me to go to Princeton to do my postdoc. My wife got 3 American university degrees. Final degree, PhD from USC. She returned. Professor of social linguistics at another Shanghai-based university. And now President Obama offers 5-year visa for Chinese students and a 10-year visa for scholar business people who has a need to go to US often. I definitely wouldn't need. I went to US 4 times a month, 8 times a year, 200 times by this time, by this age. So I don't want to apply every year. But Chinese government has concern. You may slip out of China, never return, leaking secrets. So we need your return. Every year we can control you. Now government considers that too much burden. Because American people, I'm also a professor at Washington University in St. Louis. And my partner, vice chancellor there, always write me an email. Dingli, send me an invitation for a 1-year Chinese visa. But next year, he would need my letter again. Now I told him, you only need 1 letter for 10 years. That's good. So by this time, many of Chinese return, we know how US teach, how US educate, how US think, how US event. We model after US. We succeed. And we start to be rich. By the time 2000 per capita GDP, $800. We aim at 2020, we get $3,000 per capita. Just 6 years later. But we get it in the year 2008, Beijing Olympic. Last year, 2013, per capita GDP, 7,000. We are 1/3 of Taiwan. Taiwan, 20,000. South Korea, 26,000. Hong Kong, 30,000. Japan, 50,000. Singapore, 60,000. Macau, 80,000. Bigger than US, but they're smaller than US. But Taiwan was very slow. Hong Kong, slow. South Korea, start to slow. Japan, 0 development for 10 years. And China developed every 4 years, doubling. Every 4 years doubling. We did 3 doubling in 12 years, 2000 to 2012. Which means if Taiwan would do nothing, in 4 years, we would be $15,000 per capita, very nearing Taiwan. If they keep slow development for another 4 years, we would be bigger than Taiwan, not aggregated sense, big, but per capita. Then we would abandon Taiwan. You are too poor. We don't want to unify you. You're too poor. US don't want to take Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico want to join the US. US will say, wait a minute. Not now. You cannot leave. But we don't take it right now. Very fast. Per capita, still poor. but aggregated sense, rich. We import 1.9 billion US dollar, not trillion. That's only second to US. Who would not care if China would be angry with somebody? For instance, when Norway-based, Oslo-based Nobel Peace Prize Committee offered a Nobel Peace Prize to our dissident Liu Xiaobo a few years ago. China's response was still not to buy salmon from Norway. We link economy to politics, which is wrong. According to WTO, you cannot do it. But everybody would do it. US president did not go to Sochi, Winter Olympic, because they had a ban on lesbian and gay. And for this, your president did not go. So it's linking politics to sports. And we link. So Norway was very gloomy. We did not buy, we need a huge amount of salmon, but we can buy from elsewhere. We can punish. After another 5 years, 8 years, we would double. Now our development speed is lower, so every 8 years we would increase by 100%. Which means by 2020, we would double our economic size. So Shanghai's per capita GDP is 15,000 US dollar, Shanghai. By 2020, 30,000 US dollar, which is Hong Kong. If Hong Kong would have occupying Central for 8 years, every day, they are gone. And entire China's per capita GDP was 50% of Shanghai. Which means after 8 years, entire China's average per capita GDP would be Shanghai's data now. And Shanghai is fabulous. So this is the outcome of our learning. And due to your generosity of accepting Chinese students. We're smart, we learn. Jack Ma used the idea of eBay to open his own Taobao and now lifting to Tmall and Alibaba. He became the third richest man in the world. It's a partnership. So America helped China significantly. Now China would offer something to the US. Still, poor people. Your business people can come to China to hire them. Because last year our per capita GDP was 7,000 US dollar, which was 1/8 of the US. No reason not to tap Chinese cheaper labor. And China still open our human resource for US to tap. Open and open because we are doing more market economy. There are 100 million, 200 million Chinese still living under absolute poverty, namely 1.5 US dollar per day. That's a huge, more than Japanese overall population. If you use them, you can save a lot of money to build. And Chinese side desperately need American to invest. Then you would ask, China has money already, why they don't do it? We are doing it, especially by building fast train to bring them out of the backwater. But meantime, we do not have much new technology. And the world has been oversupplied. So we need America to invest in China because we are cheap. We have cheaper labor. You have expensive labor. Then you give the second line high technology for us, for our people to use. That we do not have. We only have some Xiaomi smartphone technology and fast train, but not everybody needs a fast train. Smartphone, you don't need 100 You only need one. But America has Apple, all kind of Apple products that would sell to Chinese to other people they need, and our people can build. So please let our people to build. You make money. We still need partnership. That's the drive why China need America, because we have many poor people. But China already has lots of rich people. 3 years ago, 1 million Chinese toured America, each spending $7,000 US. Total tourism income for America, $7 billion. So 3 years ago, Obama ordered to increase visa issuance to China by 40% in 2 years. Last year, US made it. So 1.4 million Chinese went to America. Of course, each of them would spend more. But 3 years ago, 70 million Chinese toured abroad. 70 million, almost entire Germany. And they are the richest part of Chinese. Not all German people are rich. 70 million Chinese accounts only for 5% of total mainland Chinese. 1 million touring American only account for 1.7 out of 10,000 Chinese. And China would double its economy every 4 years. So America need to relax its visa demand to be more relaxed. Now with the 10-year visa granting, Chinese can have another benefit. If we go to Guatemala, go to another country, because you have American 10-year visa, we don't need to apply for another country's visa. That's the collateral benefit. America need China tourism, need China to invest. When President Hu Jintao went to Chicago in February 2012, he toured a Chinese company, Wanxiang, which is based in Alibaba's hometown, the headquarters, but they had a $1 billion investment in Chicago. That made the mayor of Chicago very friendly to China. He said, "We want to be your base in America. So you have U.S. government, but we are more friendly than U.S. government." So Chinese president feel very good. Now more and more Chinese people want to go to U.S. to invest. They can invest in China, but they can invest in America. If they have the skills, they have the management, they can make money. Like U.S. business are making money in the U.S. GE is making 50% of its revenue from China. It's losing money in the U.S., but making more money in China, because we sell car per year. This year, probably 21 million. U.S. used to be the country to sell biggest number of cars in America. Now only 14 million. We would sell 21 million. If you would have 10% of the market share, how much money you can make? That makes China U.S. to be number one pair of friends in the world in terms of business. Because ever rising middle class, I know you would have another Fudan professor talk about the middle class, would be affordable. They can make more American to be employed. But already America has made many Chinese to be employed. But still, 200 million of Chinese are unemployed now. But why we cannot employ them? Because they have to manufacture something that foreigner would buy. We do not have enough technology to manufacture, to make other people feel attractive. So we have limited technology to invest in other countries. You have all kinds of technology. Actually, you volunteer to cut your share of export for China to build and export. Then your investor make more money than by investing in America. And your consumer save more money by buying than buy their own stuff if they would manufacture. So they lose job. We get job. We pollute our environment, and you save your environment. You need your rebalancing. We need our rebalancing. The richer we are, we need to spend more, less save. And the less rich you are, you need to save more and devise new ways to balance China. China, Japan, the same. Shinzo Abe desperately need to meet with my president. So for the first time, he made a concession to China by writing down what China need. On Diaoyu Island, Senkaku, and other East China Sea-based islands, the China-Japan had a different view that warrant us to resolve peacefully. He still did not say dispute. We say, you say dispute, but he say different view. So he made half concession, we made half concession. Why? 3 cars, tourists. Still, we have more and more Chinese going to Japan. But were not for Diaoyu Island or Yasukuni Shrine that we thought he should not worship. Even more Chinese would go to Japan. Second, China's investment. This year, 2014, China invested more outside of China than it would absorb foreign direct investment into China. We become net capital exporter. So why Japan would hate Chinese money to make more Japanese employed? Third, China's ability to consume, to import. So he needs us, and we need him. 10% of Japanese business have withdrawn from Shanghai for many reasons. Rising salary cost, rising environmental protection demand, and rising PM 2.5 air pollution. Even worse, rising fear, heart distance. They don't like Chinese, they left. So that threat to Shanghai's economy, because we lose a job as they shift Shanghai-based job to Vietnam, to Philippines, to other more friendly place where salary is getting relatively advantages. So we have to make a half concession to shake hand. So trade makes peace. Economic engagement makes peace, reduce the level of confrontation. And now what we still need, capital. Although we are capital rich, but we need technology accompanied capital. We need technology. Second, we need not only financial resource, we need mineral, iron ore, oil, gas, wood, all kinds of mineral, including uranium. We need to empower our nuclear reactor. We have 28 under construction power reactors, accounting for 40% of all nuclear power reactors under construction in the world right now. And need to buy uranium from Australia, from Kazakhstan. But now we need oil first, because we are rich in coal. Coal has polluted our environment. And we are under heavy pressure from the world, especially from America. In 2009, President Obama became president. He went to Copenhagen. He committed that the U.S. would cut CO2 by 17% from 2005 to 2020. And China said, I'm going to cut CO2 40 to 45% per unit of GDP. But China increased GDP too much. 12 years, threefold from 1 to 8. Then even we cut a lot per unit, we still absolutely we net increase release too much. So 2009 for development, China-US bloc. A few days ago, Obama met with Chinese President Xi Jinping at his compound. China committed that my peak year to keep releasing CO2 would be no later than 2030. So allow me to release more and more, but 2030 will be last year. US tolerated. China still need to develop, but we do not have enough technology to replace coal with green energy, renewable energy. We are doing more, but still not enough.
Dr. Shen?
Yes.
Would you take some questions from the journalists?
Sure, I would spend 2 minutes, all right? Then we commit. By 2030, we would use renewable energy to 20% of the total energy consumption. And no more higher amount of CO2 emission, but that will be last year. So this would make Obama feel good in Paris next year. The two countries may push for a Paris Protocol. That Republican-dominated Congress would say, no, we are not going to cooperate with you. But China is cooperating. So I'm ending here to say we need resource, money, technology, mineral. We can offer cheap labor. We continue to pollute, that save others' environment. And we have strong government that is not pro-worker, pro-environment, which is pro-capital, pro-US investor. And we are more attaching importance to environmental protection, preserving our ecology, and intellectual property rights. Increasingly, we are more protecting, but not far from satisfactory. And we have lots of middle-class people who can afford. This make China to be useful, to be tapped by many countries in the world, not only America. Poor country need Chinese investment. Rich country need Chinese consumer. So China could have turbulent, but ever rising international stature. Thank you very much.
You said that trade makes peace and economic engagement makes peace and reduces the level of confrontation, but not in the Sudans. To talk a little bit about the Sudans. I mean, China is very involved in oil in both North and South Sudan, right? But today there's neither peace between the countries nor peace in South Sudan. And my understanding is the Sudan is one of the first times that, or some people argue that China's hand was sort of forced to become involved in foreign policy there because of its economic interests, in a way that China otherwise might not push its own sort of agenda. So how do you reconcile that statement about trade creating peace with countries?
Okay, I mentioned trade promotes peace, but I do not say trade guarantees peace. China, Japan, a lot unpeaceful these years. But I would say, honestly speaking, it's not harmonious. It's still peaceful. It's cold peace, lukewarm peace. It's not a uniting heart peace, but it's definitely not harmonious. China-US, peaceful. China was not attacking mainland China, attacking Taiwan. You are not sending force to defending Taiwan. But we all know there is a chance if Ma Ying-jeou was assassinated, if Madame Tsai Ing-wen would be elected, if she became crazy, she announced the making of Republic of Taiwan. That does not include mainland territory. We have to threat with unpeace. And America has a Taiwan Relation Act that vows any threat to Taiwan equates a threat to America. America had to do something. So we have threat, but we still do not see the threat becomes a war. So Sudan was China's good friend for a long time. and we supported them. We did not need their oil until it has entered 1990. We need oil, and we were long-time friend. So they were stable. They need to sell oil. We were great friend, and we have the money to buy. Then they start to have the domestic turmoil, eventually leading to Darfur, so-called genocide. So at that time, China became too mercantilism, too capitalist. We spend money to buy the oil, and we don't care other things. Long time ago, in 1960, we supported Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We support American colored people to ask for equal treat, to abandon the backward segregation. American had equal but segregate. So our Mao Zedong intervened. We did not have diplomatic relationship, but we are on the moral side. And when Mandela was jailed, we supported his party, African Congressional Party. So eventually they appreciated. They abandoned Taiwan. They reverted diplomatic relations from Taiwan to mainland China. But when we become market economy, it's money-driven. It's not value-driven. It's not equality-driven. It is even not peace-driven. It is money-driven. So I give you money, you give me oil. You use my money to buy my weapon. You use my weapon to kill your people. So eventually, they lose people, they lose money, they lose weapons, they lose oil, they lose everything. Then many people were angry. And they threatened to boycott the Beijing Olympic. And the great movie director, Spielberg, he put a letter to our president, Hu Jintao, resigning his honorary membership of the Beijing kind of advisory committee. We are scared. We think it's serious. What we do is, we want to make the best ever Olympic opening. So we need George W. Bush, we need everybody. So how can some sportsman would not come? How can some US president would not come? We cannot allow Sochi Winter Olympic to appear in Beijing. So we are smart. We are under coercion. So we nominated Ambassador Liu Guijing to be President's African Affairs envoy, but actually Darfur envoy. He went to that place, reporting to the president, and condemning our embassy did not report the facts, the serious situation factually. Our embassy want to please the leader. They would not say it's very bad. They even did not dare to raise policy recommendation. For instance, we should sanction the government. We should keep a distance to be more on the moral side. But driven by our need of oil, who dare venture to do it? But then American sportsmen, swimming people would not come to Beijing. That's terrible. So our interest is to make a harmonious Beijing Olympic. Then we had to make effort. My president had a meeting with the Sudanese president in 2007, a year before Beijing Olympic, at the China African Summit. For every president, we only meet with 5 minutes, but for him, 1 hour. We tell him we would support the making of South Sudan. China would be opposed to the making of Taiwan as an independent country. We are against such an idea to split the country, except for Crimea. That's another story. But then we told him, they want to be independent, let them go. Then US got the intelligence, US appreciate. Their president did not listen to America, but China asked them to do. So we conveyed the American idea. And we said, you don't want a UN peacekeeper, UN armed force. But the African Union has proposed African Union force. They would not arrest you. The president was wanted by the Roman court to be, as he is wanted by International Criminal court. So nobody would talk to him. But China still talked to him. But China said, let me send my armed force to wear the UN peacekeepers' uniform to make your country stable. Then we demand Chinese oil company to spend money. Not only to give the money, we get oil. In addition to give the government money, we spend our own money to dig a well. Not oil well, but water well. To find water for the Darfur people to drink. So these three things, ask them to respect the South Sudan people's demand, and respecting the reality of Darfur, which is miserable, and we can help. And also, you have internal war, because the government did not allow the breaking away of South Sudan. We send armed force to protect them. And we invite the South Sudan opposition to send its official to Beijing to be trained for future diplomats. So these are the work China done. First, for our interest. Because our oil is in South Sudan. If we are against, they still succeed. They will be angry. They don't allow the oil to be exported to China. Second, if they made it anyway, but the Sudan government still is unhappy, the oil need to be transported from the pipeline slow out of the Sudan. So China still cannot get. So we need to make them peaceful. For our own interest, we have to do it. But that also provides peace, and which has been in accordance with various UN resolutions to suggest them to have the national reconciliation and to make an independent South Sudan. So that's how China was under American threat. And draw the lesson, we have room to improve, and we improved. Now they are still fighting. The two countries are fighting. So US said, let's discuss to send UN force. Okay, China said, agree. But who sent? America has been tied in Afghanistan and Iraq. No, you don't want to go. China said, let me send. So first time China sent combatant force. So if we are killed, we will shoot back. In the past, we only provided some maintenance, the local order, but this time we send real armed force to Mali, to Sudan, to South Sudan. So these are what China is doing, I would say, reluctantly. We did not want to do. Second, we have to do for faith and for interest. And third, we provide public goods. Not enough. We need to do more and more in the future, including to handle Iran and many other unstable areas. And hopefully, not only Ebola, but also IS, Islamic State.
Can we get another question?
Yeah, I was just interested. You said China, A, needs technology, and B, is positioned to and wants to invest more in the United States. But that combination has created some fear and unease in the U.S. Companies worry that maybe Chinese students who are visiting here, or Chinese workers, are trying to steal our secrets or our technology. I'm wondering, how does that perception change, and what's the importance of that perception?
First, there is always such perception is natural. China used to monitor every foreigner because we had not many foreigners. We can afford to monitor them. And when there is a Taiwanese come to the neighborhood, he had to register, and neighbors need to watch him automatically. We have the social responsibility. But now, with 300,000 rich Taiwanese living in Shanghai area, it's a burden to watch them. So probably we use a machine to scan their email or communication. If somebody would report someone, then we would watch him for a month and then review. You cannot watch everybody. Our NSA is not as advanced as the US NSA. But I would assume China did espionage and continue to do. For political purpose, if Obama would meet with Dalai Lama, we have Obama's email, then we try to threat Obama. If you do this, we would do that. or for security purpose. America has such a technology laser weapon that we do not have. Can we steal? Or industrial espionage? Or natural? I assume America is doing the same. Probably is doing more, but less rewarding because we are less advanced. But how China should use its law to discipline its people, not to leak. And second, China how to build its cyber security so America cannot easily break through. And America need to do it. So it's hard to blame why you do. We should physically protect. But in case it has happened, arrest. But then how to do? American Judiciary Department this spring announced to indict 5 Chinese officers. First, it's right, because someone stole your stuff. Why you cannot do it? But NSA is doing a lot more of this against China. Should China announce we should indict the director of the NSA or his main staff? It's ridiculous. So in my view, it's all natural. Second, we have to generate self-protection. And third, to have the use diplomacy to resolve, which is on the table, not announce. Then China complains, I want to invest. Then President Obama refused a Chinese company. They want to open a windmill to generate wind energy in the U.S. The reason is that the mill would be too close to a U.S. Air Force base. So Chinese company is suing the U.S. President. We consider your law would allow us. Why you disallow? I would say Chinese side need to be sensible, not to build the windmill too close to the U.S. Air Force. And we have satellites. We have all kind of embassy, consulate. They can draw electronic signal. You don't need to have a person live close to the place. And now China is developing. We don't need to get every bit of information. And if they say too close, we say we apply again to relocate this place. What's your other objection? We would not bring Chinese worker. The worker would be American people. And electricity would be used by America. But then we make money from generating the energy. And we need you to generate energy inside China to empower us. So it's natural.
Professor,
You mentioned that the mayor of Chicago had been welcoming to China. I don't know if you meant Mayor Daley or Mayor.
Oh, the current one who used to be White House chief of staff.
Emanuel, yeah.
Yes.
I'm interested in.
And Delhi was also very hospitable to China.
Yeah, that's true. But my question is, how much difference does that make in how Chicago or any other city is perceived by China and by businesses here, and does it really make a difference in terms of investment decisions?
Well, Chicago is nice. It's central located. It's not west coast and east coast, which are more famous and more culturally probably and overall established. Chicago is the hub in the middle country. It's culturally great, and it's advanced in terms of education, high tech, everything, and they are so enthusiastic in partnering with China. So that would make a Chinese feel more at home. So we are more willing to go to a place which would not find trouble for us. Sometimes you go to North Vietnam to invest, or go to another country to invest. They never tell you how many laws they have. And when you want to make money, they say, I have this law, another law. Very unfriendly. But America has law clearly stipulated. We can hire a lawyer to tell us what's the risk. And when the mayor is friendly, we think it's secure. So China needed it. A smiling, friendly, so we are willing to come. And that's how we think this place is great. But Shanghai is a sister city of San Francisco. At the time of Mayor Zhang Zemin and Mayor Diana Feinstein, and the two cities become great friends. And one becomes a president, another becomes a senior member of the Senate. So this kind of sister relationship. But Shanghai can have many sisters. So overall, people-to-people engagement.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I cannot wrap up everything, every bit. I have not discussed Latin America, etc. But the basic idea is we have something to offer, and we need our friend to offer us something. Let's match. The difficulty is how much benefit we get and how much you get, if it's fair. But no difference that it's a mutually beneficial partnership. Thank you.
I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
About the need for trying to get technology.
Well, shall we do here or outside?
yeah.
It's up to you.
We've got about a 10-minute break. before-
Okay, then if we're 10 break, we can do it. Okay.
Talk about China's need to get more technology into the country. So how do you reconcile that with, kind of censorship rules when Facebook and Google can't even operate? How do you reconcile the need for technology
Okay.
with freedom?
Okay. It's a balance. When China had its history. The history was we used to be great, and then we were brought by Japanese. So now we have the view. The view can be biased. The view is that we should have strong government. So best strong government is one party. It's our point of view. It was not old view. It may not be a future view, but at this time it's due to history. We work great and we work great. So strong government make China great again. Then Facebook can make many people possible to be against China and to get information. So government consider that not to provide information to people weakens China, but providing unnecessary information can also weaken China. So its policy is that to build a Chinese version of Facebook. That is like Ren, or Chinese version of Twitter. That is WeChat. It did not realize that over time, 10 years later, we need to use Facebook and Twitter to empower China. So China can be more strong with this. I think that would be the view 10 years later. Yeah. When Communist Party opened the government in 1949, we never know we would have this global journalist to come. We would send 10 people to watch one person. Now nobody would watch you. But 10 years, we never know what would happen 10 years later. But I predicted that 10 years later we would view religion, Christianity, Facebook, Twitter can all empower communists. Because communists is doing market economy. It's not in the wrong as a pure centralized. But at this time, it has a view. That is viewed by itself as right, but by many as not that right. So Hong Kong students do not have that view. But we think they are wrong, they think we are wrong. But eventually, I think we make a progress. They start to understand us, to recognize that to reach US, UK level of democracy, it will take a longer time. So 10 years, one step. 50 years, China totally change. We only spent 35 years. It's a huge change. You can come. Without the people to trace you.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yeah, sure.